Everyone, my name is Lokesh Gupta and I'm going to teach you JavaScript. I found few people struggling with coding and mainly designers who were actually struggling with putting some validation code, which is quite simple for me, but yes, uh, based on the level of thinking, they are totally creative, and they will have to concentrate on their creativity. So what I thought, I thought I should help them out with few basics of JavaScript so that it can help them to put small codes to assist a programmer. Yeah, okay. So let's start with JavaScript, and I won't take you much time. So, yes, it is very necessary to actually know the root of anything which we are learning. So, to start with, JavaScript was actually first used. I don't remember the date and time, but yes, whenever it was first used for validation purpose, as well as you can relate it with actually server trip. So what happens, JavaScript is basically considered as a client side language. It means it runs on your browser. So that it was a very new technology that time, and because it was stopping server from tripping, that uh, it was actually very helpful for the programmers. So uh, uh, that time it was really new, and now it has evolved, and it is a explosive technology right now in client-side scripting language. And so this is how JavaScript evolved. But yes, JavaScript was actually evolved with one thing uh, that is called ECMAScript. So basically, ECMAScript is actually a kind of standard which is enforced for a scripting languages. So I mean, standard is very necessary for anything. If standard is not enforced, then certainly you would see different things happening. So this was a very very good effort to enforce standards. And ECMAScript basically provides sorry, some syntax, statements, objects, etc. for any kind of scripting language. Uh, basically, scripts runs on a host environment. Like a browser is a host environment for running a script. So it differs. I mean, JavaScript may run somewhere else, that which can be host of that kind of script. But yes, JavaScript action scripts are few examples of who are following standards enforced by ECMAScript, and almost all the browsers currently are supporting ECMA standards. And ECMAScripts is actually what you can say, this is a JavaScript, and JavaScript contains, or you can say in other terms, JavaScript is actually uh, uh, evolved from ECMAScript. Then there is one terminology called browser object model, and there is another document object model. So basically ECMA I have explained you, but document object model is a thing. If you know HTML, so you have seen, let me show you. I'm using Dreamweaver to show you what I want to explain you. Here if you see, this is a HTML document. So to represent this HTML and to access its elements through scripting, uh, there was one thing which was document object model. So if you see, it is kind of tree structure. I mean, if you see, let me format this for you. So this is kind of a tree structure, and if you navigate from here to there, you would actually be accessing, you would be traversing through all the nodes. So document object model is a programmatic access of your HTML documents component, or you can say elements. Now this document object model is also supported in all browser. Now let's talk about browser object model. So browser object model is actually not enforced by ECMAScript, and every browser vendor have their own implementation for browser object model. Uh, I guess you have seen in browser that when you click somewhere, it opens a pop-up, it opens a window. That is actually comes under this browser object model. So no standards are defined, no de facto standards are defined, and there all the browsers can implement their own way. So they have their own property. Like you have seen one more thing, window object. If you know a bit of JavaScript, window object, navigator object, these all comes under browser object model. So this was the ECMAScript uh, from which JavaScript evolved, and we would cover few more things like ECMAScript basics or fundamentals, which is synonymous of JavaScript. So on next session we would be covering that JavaScript fundamental.